I don't like that one. Oh, well. Uh-oh. We got some people in the chat. Did you see that?
Some big loving.
Yeah. Let's
Joker getting some big loving. It's a weird image.
absolutely. We're going to start in a couple of minutes. Why don't we start right now? That's like corny ass music, man.
I was wondering.
Did you like that? Did you like that little?
You normally have a good selection, but I don't know what that was.
That's built into the system here, the StreamYard system. But
StreamYard.
Well, let's go ahead and start the preview collection. Let's go ahead and start. What is up, Scuttlebutt Nation? This is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Thank you very much for joining us on tonight's Scarif Live. We usually have them Saturdays, but work called, and we are doing it on Sunday tonight. I think this is the second Sunday we're doing. We might as well just change it, but let's see how that goes. Across the hall from me is my friend and yours, the scuttle to my butt, Brad, the Grand Inquisitor. Sir Brad, how you doing, my friend?
Wait a minute, I thought I was the butt. When did I become the scuttle? I am fantastic. It's been a really nice weekend. It's been hot here, but really enjoyed it. Got time to have a lot of fun and got some time to rewatch. I rewatched the last couple episodes of Kenobi. 3 and 4. So, yep, it's good to be here. Thank you to everybody that's in the chat. Joker Voice, Big Lovin', Nicole, thank you. And, of course, Lunar Girl, thank you all for being here with us tonight on Sunday instead of Saturday.
Absolutely. Let's start by talking to let's do some Star Wars news or some other geek news. But I got to find my notes, so we'll be back in about 40 seconds.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
That is true, my friends. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Ro and Brad. It's like it's 2019 after Star Wars Celebration Chicago. We are back in business, baby. Thank you very much, everybody in the chat, for joining us. Like Brad was saying, we got Joker Voice, Dragon Buddy, Big Lovin', Rogue Disney. Who else is in there? Nicole is in there. Our guest is mingling with the folks on in the chat there. Very, very nice. And it's going to be a good night. Brad, I wanted to ask you, what nerd item of news are you most excited about? I know you always say it's great to be a nerd, but why is it great to be a nerd?
I mean, the amount of content we have, both Star Wars and non-Star Wars. I think it was last episode we were talking about. I still need to get caught up on. By caught up, I need to start watching Umbrella Academy. But we mentioned The Boys last time, and I was able to binge that, get caught up on The Boys. That show is always interesting.
Yeah.
So this season's pretty good, and of course we talked about Stranger Things, and we got the rest of Stranger Things coming out at the beginning of July.
So yes.
Yep. And there's a little bit of Star Wars news. I'll put that in quotes, and I know Fred wants to talk about some of that, so we can wait till he comes on and discuss some possibilities there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I just saw a graphic with all the Star Wars projects that are slated to come out. And there's a lot there. You and I lived through the dark times where there was no Star Wars after Return of the Jedi. We had one lonely project that was kind of a test, but there was absolutely nothing out there on the horizon. And now we are flooded with Star Wars content. And I know you and I, we don't subscribe to that whole Star Wars fatigue notion. The more Star Wars, the better. I always say, when you cut me, I bleed Star Wars. So the Force is with me in my veins, baby.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
where are you? We kind of discussed. Where are you on the discussion of how it should be presented? Are you more excited about movie theater content or streaming content, or you just want both?
You know, I really do miss Star Wars in theater. I've said this before. I really enjoy the theater experience, whether it's Star Wars or not. I just went to go see the Top Gun movie with some buddies, and it was fantastic. Just, getting into the theater and sitting down and watching the story unfold with strangers for the most part in this darkened room. I love that experience, and the sound, the visual, the big screen. It's pretty epic. I think Star Wars streaming and shows on the small screen are great, but I'm really hoping that the theater experience is not does not become extinct.
Yeah, I was speaking of Top Gun. There was a meme the other day I saw. Top Gun is like top of the
Hmm.
somewhere up there in the uh, earnings, and also Kate Bush has the number one song right now.
Yeah,
And they're like, are we back in 1986 again? It's like,
right.
it's I think I saw the first one 6 times in theaters when it came out, and still have to see this one. But yeah, it's like we're 1986 all in a pseudo war with Russia. So we're 1986 all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I went to go see it. One of my friends was a Marine, and I saw him like in the corner of my eye. I saw him like roll his eyes every so often when the story kind of went a certain way. So when you see it, come back, text me, let me know what you
yeah.
thought of it. Obviously, being in the armed forces, there are certain things that
See,
I
that's what makes it difficult. When I saw the
right.
first one, I was obviously just a youngster. Now, seeing any military movie, especially Navy movies, like Hunt for Red October or any
Right.
submarine movie,
Yeah.
it's hard because like you're trying so hard not to critique it the entire time. But
Right.
I would just try to go there and enjoy it.
Absolutely. It reminds me of when I see a movie and there's a news crew like following somebody or doing something. The one thing that pisses me off, and I think it's an in joke with Hollywood, they hold the camera up here from the handle when they're doing the thing. I'm like, oh, who is telling these people to hold it there? You don't hold it there.
Yeah.
And then you've got a press conference with a guy with a microphone like in the back of the room, holding a
Oh yeah.
microphone like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you're not going to hear anything.
Just like the
So
uniforms they wear, like you're not going to be wearing that uniform on an aircraft carrier. They'll be uncomfortable as hell. And yeah, go Air Force. Air Force does have the best golf courses of all the branches, so I agree with that. They spend the money in all the right places.
excellent, excellent. All right, so let's get down to business. We are here on Scarif Live talking about Kenobi chapter or part 4. My brain went back to Book of Boba Fett with all the books and the chapters and
I'm sorry.
pamphlets and all that stuff. But absolutely, let's bring our guest in. Fred the Jedi has a YouTube channel, and he's a friend of the podcast. We see his tweets from time to time, and I'm very excited to welcome him. First time on the show, Mr. Fred the Jedi. Fred, how you doing?
I am great. We haven't done anything like this in like 2.5 years. It's been a long time. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to get to talking about Kenobi.
Excellent, excellent. Brad mentioned that you wanted to talk about one aspect in Star Wars news, and we wanted to give you a chance before we get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, so we were talking about there is currently a rumor report, whatever you want to call it. Rumors swirl all around Star Wars nowadays, but there's a rumor that Riva might be getting her own spin-off series or something.
Mm.
And I don't know how true that could possibly be based on I'm not going to talk about like the actual leak here because I don't want anyone to get spoiled if it is true.
Hmm.
But I'm not sure how that's possible if the show ends the way the leak says it's supposed to end.
And yeah,
So kind of interested to see, but I could see them doing a Kenobi 2 or some sort of spin-off based on I mean, everybody wants to see more Ewan, more Hayden, more Vader.
yeah.
Everybody wants it. I could see them maybe greenlighting that, but not sure if Reva would get her own show.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think, and I think I do. I am privy to that the story or the rumor of how the series ends. So yeah, I can't see that happening. Um, but yeah, who doesn't want more Vader?
Bingo.
Vader,
Yeah,
yes. I don't think the Inquisitors so far are not solid enough to,
to
Reva
carry.
or any of them
Yeah,
to warrant their own show. Like I said, I think they work great in video games. I think they work great in the comic books. They were even cool in the cartoons. I just don't think they work so far. They haven't figured it out yet. They're not. There's nothing scary about them. I mean,
right.
they're supposed to be Sith Inquisitors,
Yeah,
and there's nothing scary about
yeah,
them. So there's no way they can stand on their own.
yeah. Joker Voice has a question for you, Fred. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of tell the folks if they don't know you, they should know you by now, obviously. But just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell the folks what channel you do.
Yeah, hi, hello. So I'm Fred the Jedi. I am not specifically a reaction channel. That's just what garners the most views and traction and everything. I react to every new Star Wars series that comes out, every episode, but I also do lore content or gaming content with Star Wars or anything that can be thrown in a Star War, I'm going to talk about. So a little bit more than just a reaction channel, but that is where most people recognize me from.
Sure. Cool, cool, cool. And speaking of YouTube, I want to say thank you to Fabulous Disaster and Jason Marison, two new subscribers we picked up, I think, from the last time we did one of these. So thank you very much. Yeah, so part four, Kenobi, we've got two left. What is going on? And there is a lot of buzz on the interwebs talking about, not really talking, but complaining that we haven't seen Hayden's face yet. Folks, before this series started, we started talking about the possibility of flashbacks, especially if Hayden and Ewan McGregor are back in business here. If we don't see, I'm of the camp that if we don't see them together without masks and kind of being together during Clone Wars era stuff, that it might be a missed opportunity here to get these two great actors from the prequels back together in this series now. I'm hoping that we see some of that. I'm hoping that that we do get a glimpse of maybe what we already know from their relationship from the animated series, The Clone Wars, which obviously stretched out their relationship. We got hints of it obviously during the prequels, but I want to go across the board here and briefly talk about our reaction on the acting, especially with Ewan McGregor. I think he's been doing a fantastic job. Brad, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean this. I really like this episode. I know there's a couple folks in the chat that probably didn't enjoy it as much, but I think Ewan McGregor. I mean, he is Obi-Wan. I mean that's a given. But it's like he's becoming more and more. I mentioned it last week. He's becoming Alec Guinness. As we're watching him,
Mm-hmm.
and if we talked about this over instant or over text. If you've played Fallen Order, this one was really fun to watch because there are some locales there where you're playing in Jedi Fallen Order, so it's really nice to see that. And I think they did a great job on the Citadel there. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like it was a mix of Fallen Order and A New Hope. The way Obi-Wan was sneaking around the place and stuff like that, trying to get his Force powers back. So a lot of good parallels in this episode. I thought it was pretty solid.
Absolutely. Fred, what about you? You enjoying the series overall?
Overall, yeah, I think it's been pretty much what I expected. I think a lot of people wanted to see Obi-Wan kind of be the classic Obi-Wan that we know, but I mean, he's in a period of heavy PTSD, and
Mhm.
now he's getting called back into action, and seeing him slowly work himself up to being able to call himself a Jedi again has been really magical to see. But I think my favorite things have been Ewan's acting. I mean, he pretty much, I would say, hands down, the best acting of the series so far. Um, but also, I absolutely adore his relationship with little Leia.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And it really, this, I know a lot of people don't love the sequels or whatever, but this really kind of makes the sequels, in my opinion, make more sense, because why would Leia name her son Ben except for like the one event in A New Hope? You know what I mean? Now you
Yeah,
see
that's a good call.
Yeah.
there's a lot of history between them. They actually, if I'm being honest, they're closer than Luke and Obi-Wan were, at
Sure.
least at this stage. So it's been really cool to see that relationship develop. That's hands down my favorite thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick shout out to Extra Star Wars. Sean, thanks for showing up. We got some new people coming in. I saw somebody new, and thank you, Chantel, for here, GeoForce Racing. I think he or she said they were new. Thank you very much, Chantel. Brought them over. Yeah, we got some nice conversations going in the chat there.
Ro, you mentioned things that we now see on Disney Plus. We had Vader or part 3,
Previous, yeah.
and now we can add child torture to
To
what
the
is now
Disney Plus,
now
yeah.
permissible on Disney Plus. But I think somebody mentioned in the chat last week, there's a special place in hell for people that just diss on child actors. But even from a child actor perspective, I think Leia's really holding her own. And for anybody, an interrogation / torture scene is hard, is difficult, because you got to dig deep for your reactions. And I think she's holding her own as an actor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, if we can
go
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I loved the scene where she kind of, you see the switch turn, where she's kind of sad and wallowing, and you can kind of see she's about to cry, and out of nowhere she snaps and she's like, well, I don't know anything about a path. I thought that was like, for however old she is, which she's like 9 or 10 years old, that is like stellar acting, especially in such a high intensity situation.
Yeah, she's doing great. I think she's doing great. It's enjoyable to watch her scenes, actually, because her acting is so well done. Yeah, let's get the nitpicking out of the way. I wanted to kind of mention a couple of things.
I
I
got one.
So I have a couple, but this, for me, this series, I'm enjoying it for the most part. I think I'm enjoying this a lot more than Book of Boba Fett. I think for me, Book of Boba Fett was a chore. I just, obviously I wanted to get better. I want it to be really good. It just didn't click for me. But this is, I want to say I have probably less nitpicks on Kenobi than I did with Obi-Wan. But there's not a lot. Obi-Wan, the Kenobi series really is hitting a couple of marks for me that are, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. There's just like little things that I think, for me, the writing isn't really up to par. There's certain logistic or logic items in the story that I have like trouble with, that are red flags when I'm like, wait a minute, why didn't this happen because of that? They just showed us this, and what's going on. I have the one biggest thing.
Walk around the gate.
Walk around the gate. Okay. I didn't really notice that because I think I was enthralled in the action, but there are certain things like, and things that could have been fixed by like just one shot or something. But, in this last episode, you've got, it's really action oriented. It's action heavy. There is the moment when Obi-Wan in the fortress starts using the Force. He takes his lightsaber out. He uses the Force to hold back the broken glass in the water underwater there. I would have thought that, I'm assuming Vader's on the station. I would have thought that Vader would have sensed that and somehow got to him quicker than he did. And then you've got the snow speeders that are just blowing things up. So little things like that kind of like bug me. Riva or Reva
See, I don't think Vader was there. You know, Vader has this nasty habit, probably because he only
showing
walks.
up at the
He's always like 5 minutes late to the party. Just
right.
like, you know, Rogue One, you know, he
But
was
see,
5 minutes late to the party. It's just because he's always walking everywhere. I think he just got there late. I don't think he was there yet.
they could have fixed it by having a shot of his shuttle like arrive like afterwards, and then I'm like, oh, okay. But that really it did bug me. It's just one of those little things that I had a nitpick of. But Brad, what about you? You said you had one.
Yeah, let's talk about classified. You know,
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
97 Bravo had the same thing, and you got
yeah,
you military guys with your
yeah, we got
classified and all that
yeah,
stuff.
we got to talk about operational security within the ranks of the Imperial military, because with you know that has to be one of the most high security places. Of course, we know with Scarif, you know, their high security doesn't mean much to the Empire. I think when you're that big, you think nothing can, you know, phase you or affect you. But obviously, that was a little cringeworthy for me. Do you know what classified means? That's just all kinds of wrong. All right, she had obviously there's no way around this, right? It's, you know, this is just me as, you know, knowing too much about this crap. You can't just say, you know, hey, I'm here, you know, do you know what classified means? And he's just gonna, oh yeah, go ahead, you know, going through. Especially being the head of security on that level of the Citadel, that's not going to happen. But I'll let it slide because the general public doesn't know. Classified sounds scary to the general public, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah. I can't. My light is too bright, but I have a security pass right here. It's a post-it with the word "secure" on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just little things like that. I know, you know, some stuff bugs you, but what about you, Fred?
So, by the way, thank you for that because I had no idea any of that was wrong or anything. So that's kind of cool.
Like I said, you know, we know a lot of military people, and everybody's like, "What?"
You know what classified means, Fred? Come on now.
I know what classified means. I don't know it in the specific context of how the operation works, though. But I think, truthfully, my only nitpick was the speeders at the end. They seemed kind of like not in the right scale in a few of the frames. And I was like, it's a little too small or a little too big, or I don't know. Felt a little weird. And that whole sequence at the end, I love the action portion of it.
Yeah.
But just the speeders kind of coming down, something looked a little off. And I know it's probably because of the volume or whatever. And
Right.
I get that. So it was just a small little nitpick. But other than that, I can't really think of anything from this specific episode. Maybe the gate thing was a little corny, but
yeah. And I didn't see the gate thing until people started reacting to it. I saw like an aerial where the gate ended, and it looked like there was a hill like right there, like you couldn't really like go around. So that's like I kept that in mind, and I'm like, okay, I'll let that pass. But you know, you mentioned the speeders during that action scene. The one other thing that kind of is starting to bug me is the landing sequences for these ships. They're very like, and on the big screen, you can kind of tell that these ships have weight or they have bulk. There's an actual mass to them because they don't land perfectly. And these are just, it's almost like if you're into Photoshop or After Effects, it's like it's, you know, it starts from here and it comes here and it's just a weird way of landing a ship. And
you know, we're spoiled though, bro.
We're
really
absolutely
spoiled. I mean,
we're
we're talking about a movie we fell in
spoiled.
love with where they used little miniature toys basically to do all the special effects.
Absolutely. But the technology is a lot higher now than it is back then. So I would assume that, you know, things would improve. But yeah, Sean's going to kill me, but I love my shots cinematically. And the first chapter was really great. I loved a lot of the really super wide shots. You know, one thing that I noticed, and Fred, you mentioned the volume, stagecraft. I think if they start making these stages a little bigger, they might have I don't know, they might look better. That's one of the reasons I'm really looking forward to Andor, because I was reading an article, and it looks like Andor is not going to rely too much on the volume technology. They're taking the show out on real locations, which I am super excited about, because now you can really tell what's shot on the volume and what's not. And it just looks, it looks like the old style rear projection stuff. You got somebody in a car and you see the screen going past, and that's visually, for me, that's what it looks like now.
Yeah, you can definitely tell when something's shot in the volume as opposed to like cinematic magic, I guess. Or what did George say? Digital magic or whatever.
Yeah, right.
You can just kind of tell the difference. But truthfully, I try not to think about it too much because on one side, yeah, maybe the quality is a little bit reduced, but on the flip side, we're not having to wait as long for that project, and
Sure.
we're getting so much volume, no pun intended,
Right.
of products. Like you said, you saw the graphic earlier of all the things coming down the pipeline,
Hmm.
and the future's bright, and I'm very excited. But I'm with you about Andor. That's the series that I think intrigues me the most.
And I think it's the series that people are really sleeping on. And I
Big
know,
time.
I know a lot of people's like, why did they do Rogue One? They shouldn't have done, or I one of the phrases that I really don't like when people say is like, I didn't ask for this movie. I'm like, I know we didn't ask for anything, but we're getting it, so deal with it. But I think Andor is going to be probably the best streaming Star Wars show, even better than Mandalorian. I think it's going to be, people are going to be like, wow, this is like big screen stuff. And I think part of it is, I think the writing is going to be good. One of the things that really intrigues me about Star Wars overall is, and this may sound corny, but I think, I loved it in the prequels, is the political intrigue and the maneuvering of the politicians. I find that very interesting. And when they did a little bit of that in Andor, and obviously during Rebels, you had Saw Gerrera, you had characters like Mon Mothma, head to head. I love that drama, and I'm hoping to see more of that within the Rebel ranks of the rebellion in the Andor series. We got a lot, we got a little tidbit of that during Rogue One. I'm really intrigued to see more of that.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, one of the more exciting parts of the show. And I mean, I know we see this as like some crazy space adventure, but truthfully, it's all very heavily tied into politics. And I mean, the political aspect of, Palpatine specifically is the reason why all of this happens. It's all politically related. So I think this show Andor is going to be one of the more like dark and gritty political messes
Mhm.
that we've seen.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I liked the Bad Batch so much, because you're kind of in this weird transitional period. And I think that time period between episode 3 and 4 is kind of like the most special period that we know a good amount of, but we haven't seen the boots on the ground and see
Mhm.
everything kind of take off into action. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Also, it's going to make some, just like Kenobi's doing, it's going to make some lines in episode 4 mean a lot more, where they're talking about the Imperial Senate. Because if you look at
Mhm.
the trailer, Mon Mothma, I'm assuming Bail's going to be in the series as well. You can see them, they're walking into the Senate, so it's nice to see that transition from prequel era Senate to the Imperial Senate.
Right.
We'll be able to get some of that political action going on there, and so it'd be nice to see. Now that's referenced in episode 4, you'll get to see it, as it's happening.
I put up Rogue Disney's comment also when the alien genocide on Tatooine. What the alien? Yeah, that. And I thought he was talking about the genocide on
So
uh,
what is that?
Geonosis.
Well, I don't
No, I
know.
know what he's
Also,
talking about. He's
well, they
saying,
mentioned one genocide on Kenobi, but not
Well,
Tatooine.
no, he's saying because in the show, like, there's almost no aliens on Tatooine.
Oh, I see.
If you
So
look in the
it's
in the
more
background,
snark.
Because of
Yeah.
the social distancing conversation that's going on there.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that is a little bit weird. You can see some aliens in like the far background and stuff,
And
but
they actually paid some close attention to close-ups. I saw some aliens in close-ups, but then all the wide shots are just extras with robes on.
yeah, there's very few. I did see a few, specifically, like I can remember some shots, like when Obi-Wan at the very end of the first episode, he's walking towards the transport. You can see some aliens kind of in the distance,
Mhm.
closer to the ship. But yeah, it's real weird when when Riva is messing with Owen, it's essentially just all humans.
Right.
So that was a little weird. I'll
It's
give you
time
that.
for some special edition CGI
Yeah,
characters.
there you go.
for you guys.
What's George doing lately? Let's ask him to fix that stuff.
You're gonna get hashtag release the George cut trending.
Oh, yes. Hold
please,
on.
no,
I'm
that
writing
sucks.
that down. Yeah, any other nitpicks? We'll get past that because I think
Didn't you mention
like I
something about the way she blew up the speeder? Didn't you had some issue with that as well?
Oh, well, the one speeder was was flying away, and she used the force to take that charge and whip it at the speeder to destroy it. I would think that she'd maybe use more of the force and use more charges to throw all of them towards the ship and possibly get them down. Um,
That was some powerful C4, I guess.
yeah,
That's,
yeah,
that sort of thing works on a video game. Looked a little awkward
yeah,
on
on screen.
live action, but
And what was that character's name?
Wade,
Poor Wade.
poor Wade.
Hashtag
Wade.
justice for Wade.
F in the chat for Wade.
Well, one of the things that I really enjoyed is when they got to that little that secret base and you met these new characters. I really I'm really enjoying seeing a glimpse of the underworld, whether it's the beginning kind of a rebellion, and we have a line in the Andor trailer about the insurrection, which is really exciting. But I think
Are you talking about two things? Well, one good, one bad. You mentioned, like, I thought, what was it, episode 1, episode 2, where they're on that that city planet. They definitely used Nar Shaddaa in the new comics, so I wish they had used Nar Shaddaa as the name on that one. That's the negative side. Positive side is where the path is, where they found them, is Jabim. And it's really cool that they're using the name Jabim because that has a lot of Clone Wars references to it, even the old Clone Wars comic book back in the day. So it's really cool that they use that name, and it's great to see the connections there.
I actually wanted to talk about Jabim because I think I have a whole theory about why specifically Jabim is a thing.
Go
And
ahead.
Ro, it's something that you mentioned earlier, how we were we were kind of led to believe there would be some flashbacks and stuff. So, by the way, I'm not going to go on a 20-minute rant on this. I already put a video up if y'all want to watch it later, but stay here because we're talking here first. So essentially my theory is back in the 2003 Clone Wars days,
Yep.
they released a comic about
Yep.
the Battle of Jabim, and it was one of the more brutal battles in the entirety of the Clone War.
Used to be a
It was
nice
like a-
place to get a hole.
Yeah, it was 20 or 43 days long, absolutely brutal. My theory is the reason Jabim is a thing, the reason they specifically chose Jabim is because the flashbacks are going to revolve around the Battle of Jabim, but it's going to be updated because those comics are now not canon anymore. So I think they would change it to better fit the 2008 Clone Wars series. So I know a big rumor was like Anakin and Obi-Wan in the armor. Maybe we see them in their armor on Jabim. And I think the flashbacks are going to start when Vader, because Vader's going to go to Jabim because, the tracker's on Lola. I think when Vader and Kenobi feel each other's presence when he's about to land or when he does land or whatever, Kenobi kind of goes through that like crazy psychotic breakdown moment again where he gets the chills and he starts to have flashbacks. And I think instead of us seeing, reused shots recut from Revenge of the Sith, we are going to see the Battle of Jabim take place in these flashbacks. And I think it
Nice.
will be sprinkled throughout the episode all the way until I don't know if this is actually going to happen or not, but I'm assuming they're going to meet again and that will happen in the final episode. So I think episode 5 will be sprinkled with flashbacks from the Battle of Jabim. That's my theory.
That would be pretty cool. And it's been a while since I read those comics, but I could have sworn that Quinlan Voss was on Jabim as well in those comics,
Oh, okay.
because Quinlan had quite a long storyline. As Fred was saying, those are no longer canon. Those were Dark Horse comics at the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
But Quinlan Voss, if I remember correctly, was on Jabim, and obviously his name was mentioned a couple episodes ago. So it might tie into that, and we might see Quinlan fighting as well. But you were talking about earlier not seeing Hayden's face. People were complaining about that. It could be one of those things. How his mask is always getting damaged. Where I think with the soda, where part of his eye was showing on Rebels and stuff like that. It could be one of those things where somebody mentioned last week in the chat. I think Obi-Wan wins again whenever they do have this duel. I think Obi-Wan gets his ass one more time, and maybe part of his face is showing from the mask, and they give him a distorted voice. Some mix of James Earl Jones and Hayden Christensen's voice, which I think would be awesome. So we'll see.
I like that.
Yeah. I do feel that so we are 4 episodes in, 2 left. I do feel that the next episode will start right away with a flashback. I think a flashback is going to be the first thing that we see to get our blood pumping, and we got 2 episodes left. Let's see what happens, but yeah, flashbacks for sure. And yeah, those are all great theories. One of the things that getting back to my nitpicks, I think they have done such a marvelous job in portraying the brutality of Darth Vader here during his prime, really. And I want to say like maybe not prime, but like maybe prior to his prime, because I think people are saying that there might still be a little bit of Anakin in him at this point. I know it's been 10 years, but he's struggling. But there's got to be some scene where Obi-Wan kind of still senses it, because that'll give some sort of sense to the line in Return of the Jedi when he says, to Luke, Vader once thought as you did, or Obi-Wan once thought as you did, regarding, Luke saying that there's still good in you.
Yeah, I mean, there's always Anakin within Vader. That's why he could go through the redemption process as short as it was. And it's the same issue, or if you want to call it issue, that Ben Solo / Kylo Ren had, that pull to the light. They can never fully get rid of it. But I'm telling you what, I watched, because it was Thursday, so it was a good time to rewatch Return of the Jedi, because that's what we do on Thursdays. But I'm telling you, like what you're saying about Vader's brutality, that all these lines in the original movie now have new meaning. Like when he's walking on the Death Star and he says, we're working as fast as we can. And Vader says, well, perhaps I can find new ways to motivate them.
Yeah.
And now you have all this ammunition of seeing all, we've read about it. We've seen it maybe in comics, but now seeing it, live action makes all those lines that much more powerful.
Yeah, because let's be honest, not everybody's reading comics.
Right.
We do because we're really nerdy, but not everybody's going to read the comics, but now they can piece it together by seeing it with their own eyes on their screen at home.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super important for like the general population of the fandom.
I'm telling you what, if marathons on TV, I don't care I will sit there and I will watch I've learned to not live tweet. I got in trouble a few years ago when I was live tweeting, so I'm not going to do that anymore. But if there is a marathon, I will watch it. I don't care if there's commercials.
I can't watch Star Wars with commercials. It totally takes me out.
You just put it on the TV and it's what's on TV all day.
No. Yeah, that's fine. I want to address Joker Voice, and no, I truly believe that Vader should have killed Reva. How do you pronounce her name?
Reva.
I truly believe that Reva should have died when Vader marched into that room and force lifted her off the ground. I think she should have died probably before the Grand Inquisitor died. Absolutely. I think that would have shown, I don't know, this kind of.
She can't get her own show if she's dead, Ro.
Oh, that's right.
Unless it's the prequel Reva series that nobody asked for. But
this is kind of telltale to my dark inner personality, because there's some reason that I love this guy behind me. I don't know what it is. His brutality, his he's not a subtle character. It's he means what he does, and he does what he means, and he says. I don't know. He's a strong antagonist, which lifts, I guess, our heroes to a new height because they're fighting him. But obviously we talked about how Disney is portraying Darth Vader at this point. I'm very surprised. He's been, he's doing rather well.
It's not uncharacteristic of him though, because he does the same thing to Krennic in Rogue One.
Absolutely.
He'll use it, and he did it, in episode 4. He will use a force choke to get somebody's true, thoughts and feelings on something.
That's what I love about him too. In story, in universe, I guess I love the fact that his own troops have this fear for him. When he first came on, and we get this through the comic books, when he first came on as Palpatine's right-hand man, and I guess they called him Tarkin's bulldog. Nobody knew where he came from. Who is this guy? So I love that his own troops fear him, and that he goes around, killing, admirals and force choking everybody to get his way. He answers to no one. And I like that about his character. But again, we're sidetracking because I love talking. I could,
you made me think about. Did you guys play Force Unleashed? Well, no, you only played Need for Speed Road, but Force Unleashed, the first one, the very first part of that game, you're Vader, and I actually, Fred, you're nodding your head, so you probably got this too. There was an award you got. PlayStation would give you an award or a medal, whatever they're called, a trophy for most amount of stormtroopers killed. So he didn't care because you could. And it's perfect because, he just walks around. He doesn't, there's no running. He just walks around. But, you could toss, just as easily, because it starts in Kashyyyk. And just as easy as you can kill Wookiees, you can just toss stormtroopers around and kill them in multiple ways because, Vader don't care.
The chat is laughing at me, by the way. Oh, with me. Sorry.
I actually like the fact that he didn't kill Reva, because it makes me feel like Anakin is still under there. And I think that's a huge thing that needs to be consistent. But also, you mentioned Vader doesn't take BS from anybody. And he knows that. He also knows that if he shows them enough, he has shown them plenty what he's capable of. So as soon as that chokehold starts, whoever he's got in that grip knows they're done, unless they tell him what he wants to hear or do what he wants them to do. So he doesn't have to kill her to get what he wants, because she's essentially leading the hunt for Kenobi, and she seems to be the only Inquisitor that actually gives a damn about finding Kenobi as much as he does. So leaving her alive would only put him closer to Kenobi, because he can see he's a smart guy. He was Anakin once. He can see that Reva's tactics are similar to his own. She's ruthless. She doesn't care. She's the same way. She don't take no BS from anybody. So I think he sees a little bit of himself in her. And that kind of says, okay, I am gonna let her try
Do
to
her
get me
thing.
to Kenobi one more time.
Yeah.
And I think, truthfully, she's going to succeed, but I don't think she makes it out. I still don't think she makes it out alive because then we've never seen her anywhere else.
Yeah. Unless,
I hate that, Joker might be right in the chat. It's the
yeah.
same thing with Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like Iden Versio was an amazing Imperial character, and of course, I don't know, they have some need to redeem every single person that works for the Empire.
Hmm.
So they could very well do the same thing with Riva, and I don't know.
I think that's honestly, I think that's where it's headed.
I don't
I,
I don't feel that way. I don't think she's going to be redeemed. I think she's gonna fail and die, truthfully.
hmm.
And maybe that's just me wanting to see something a little different, I guess. But also I would like it if she survived because I like the character, but at the same time, her dying would be interesting for the story.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in the middle.
Well,
Having
we'll
a
have you.
villain die is what's supposed to happen.
That's true.
So
Right.
But it often doesn't in Star Wars.
Right.
keep her a villain and kill her.
But the reason I feel that she's going to be redeemed is she is a Disney creation, and we've never seen her before. So I think a redemption at this point would probably go along the lines of this narrative thread that they're sinking, their money into. I don't know what happens after she gets redeemed. I think maybe, obviously there's a certain motivation that is carrying her through her actions. We're going to find them out, but there's a reason that she really wants to get to Kenobi. I think there's a relationship there
They better
that
hurry up
will
and get to
really,
that story though. They got two
yeah,
episodes left.
right. But I think that relationship is going to be resolved in a way that includes a redemption. There's going to be some sort of reckoning between the two characters, because obviously, for some reason, she really has an axe to grind with him. Whether it's Kenobi and the rest of the Jedi didn't save me and the rest of the kids or whatever, but there's something there. Obviously, we've seen it. Um, so I'm interested to see where that goes. But yeah, we'll see what happens at the end of the series. I vote personally. I vote that there is a redemption arc with her, and she's going to be absolved of her sins by Obi-Wan, which will make it everything so hunky dory, and the birds will come out and rabbits will start to sing, and I don't know whatever.
But they did the Inquisitor. I mean, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played Fallen Order. They've done the Inquisitor gets a conscience with Fallen Order already, which is canon. That's a canon story.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already done that. Let's not do that with another freaking Inquisitor.
True,
Yeah.
but they've also done the opposite with more Inquisitors, if that makes sense. Like every other Inquisitor has died an evil person, except the second sister. But the second sister's kind of like a special case. And I think that's why a lot of people loved her character, though, because she was written really well. Up until this series, I've always said Riva has been not Riva, Trilla has been my favorite Inquisitor. But by the end of it, it might be Riva just because of how much I love how intense she is. She reminds me so much of Anakin that I actually think that might play a part in what happens with her story, like why she wants Kenobi so bad. I think she knows. Obviously, we know she knows.
Right.
Anakin is Vader. I think maybe she has the same hate for Kenobi that Anakin does. I think that's how it all ties in.
So across the galaxy in the chat, not because it's a Disney character, because it can make for an interesting story. I mean, I think we can keep her. Personally, I like a story about a villain as well. I think we can keep her a villain and still make it an interesting story. I just don't. I'm against every villain having a redemption arc.
Sure.
It
seems like the reason I say the Disney remark is because they've done that to two villain stories already. And I'm not going to pigeonhole that in there, but I just feel like that's what's coming. There's a reason. Again, getting back to my reasoning as far as these two characters have a relationship that we are yet to see, and I think that's where it's going. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I mean it's. I know we're not watching these. We don't watch these. This is sci-fi fantasy. We don't watch it for realism, but you know
What? You don't watch
these
what?
it's just not realistic. Like it- you know it's like saying all the Nazis after World War II. Hey, now they have a redemption arc. No,
Right.
after the shit you did, you're still
You're still a piece of
you're
shit.
still an evil bastard. So it's just not realistic. So I'm okay with her having her own storyline, but I think it should be in the context of her being a villain, not seeking redemption.
And that's totally fair too, because I mean, like Krennic was never redeemed, and he was
Right.
he's a fascinating villain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I actually don't feel like it's a Disney thing. I feel like it's Disney trying to emulate what George did. Because George's main villain was Vader. And Vader had the redemption arc.
And he killed younglings.
Right. And then like poetry, it rhymes. So Kylo, same situation. He has his redemption arc. Hux being redeemed was kind of dumb. I didn't agree with that.
That was cheesy as hell.
I thought he should have stayed, like the evil piece of shit he was in The Force Awakens, because that was
chilling. It was a chilling character.
That was one of my favorite scenes in the entirety of the Disney era was that speech that he gave. But that redemption was cheesy. But then you have, Trilla I wouldn't even say that Trilla was redeemed fully.
No.
She didn't really have a chance.
Right.
She got killed.
I'm just saying that sort of storyline has been done with the Inquisitors, and now granted, most of them were taken against their will when they were very young, and used and abused by Vader and Palpatine. So it's possible, but the whole Yoda. I mean, we've pretty much flushed the whole. Once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. That line from Yoda has pretty much been flushed at this point.
Mm-hmm. And Jedi of Chicago. No, I don't think Hux was redeemed for the most part. He just didn't want the other guy to.
It was just
win.
corny.
Right.
Yeah, he was still helping like the good guys though, so it kind of defeated the whole reason he existed in the first place. So that was one of the bigger gripes I had.
Yeah.
Like it was cheesy.
2 episodes in, we're talking about everything that we still want to see, but what's going on with the Grand Inquisitor? Are we going to see him? Is he going to come back? Is he healing in a back to tank somewhere?
He's totally fine.
He's fine.
100% guarantee he's totally fine. They would. I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, if Disney break canon all the time, they're not going to change this story. I would bet you any amount of money he's alive and well.
Yeah.
And something that I learned like 2 weeks ago, his species has 2 stomachs. He got stabbed in one. He's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think he's fine.
I think he's fine too, but I find the 2 stomach excuse kind of goofy.
You know what? That's like one of those weird like George Goofy moment things where he's just like, I'm gonna throw this in because I can. It's a little weird, it's a little goofy, but even if it wasn't the 2 stomach thing, I mean, Darth Maul got cut in half, man.
He's in He's in Rebels. Rebels happened after this. He's alive.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are still discussing that. I mean, why they had him lying there with his eyes open like he was dead. Yeah, that's pretty dumb. But he is most certainly alive. What is 5 years ish after this?
Yeah, his stomach is over here, Matt. You missed it. Yeah, so like I said, not as many gripes on Kenobi. I'm really enjoying this. I think one of the highlights obviously is seeing Vader, my favorite character of all, not only just Star Wars, of just all fiction. But Ewan McGregor's acting. I want to see I want to see Uncle Owen again. Another, speaking of acting, he has been phenomenal in this. I really want to see more of that. Originally this was going to be a movie, and then they said, let's do streaming. And then they said, let's do 12 episodes. Then they went down to 8. Now we're where we're at now. Are you guys feeling the time of the series? Or, this is a limited series, but are you guys feeling that we have enough time to kind of wrap things up in 2 episodes, or are we feeling rushed about this?
It kind of depends on the final 2 episodes. It's hard to judge because if the finale is like 2.5 hours or 2 hours, I don't think it'll feel rushed at all. At this point, though, it is kind of hard to see how they're going to put a bow on things in 2 episodes.
And
But
that's what we said about Boba Fett. And then they
Mhm.
wasted 2 episodes doing something else, and then they came back and he's riding a Rancor, and everybody's living happily ever after.
Yeah, that was actually something I said about Book of Boba as well, because it was what, 8 episodes.
Right.
I felt it should have been 10.
Yeah.
Those 2 episodes away from Boba actually made a really big difference. Uh,
Absolutely.
but on the flip side of things, we're not taking any time away from Obi-Wan in this series. It's all been focused on him, so it's not Mission Impossible. They could do it. I am a little nervous about it, but also hopefully optimistic,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's been a good ride so far.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that I feel rushed, you had what's his name? The fake Jedi doing parlor tricks, who's basically said, I'm not going to help you, and then Obi-Wan points a gun at him and goes, okay, I'll help you. And then the same thing with this last episode, you had that gentleman saying, do you know how brutal the Empire is? It's not my problem. I'm not going to help you. And then Obi-Wan says something, I forgot what he says, and then all of a sudden he turns around and he goes, okay, I'll help you. And it's that stuff, like those kind of lines to me seem so contrived and thrown in, and they seemed rushed. They don't allow you to kind of percolate and kind of simmer in that moment. They turn on a dime. And it's almost like, I got to get to the end of the page here. Okay, resolution done. It's the next page. So it's and I don't know. You mentioned that a final episode might be a little longer than the rest, but we haven't seen that. I don't think. I mean, Book of Boba Fett, the last one was longer than some of the other ones, but you've got 30, 40, 42. I don't see them going, an hour and a half for a finale, without it splitting
Yeah.
into a 7th episode.
I think they could, though, because they did. Remember, the first episode of the Bad Batch was an hour and a half long. So I know that's animation, so it's kind of different, and it was the pilot episode, not the finale. But at least they've done it once. I don't know. Like I said, hopefully optimistic. I hope they're able to put a bow on it.
I would
I
love
want
to see that, Matt Vader.
I want to get back to the timeline. What you guys are talking about, but there's a conversation going on in the chat, and really I love all the conversations going on in the chat. So thank you guys for that. But there's a lot of comments about canon, and Ro knows this. I'm very big on canon, and trying to keep it straight. Of course, if you read comic books for a long time, it's so hard for them to maintain canon. That's why from time to time, Marvel, of course, DC is even worse at it. They'll just reset their universe because it's impossible to maintain canon. But like I said, just having rewatched episode 6 a couple days ago, I just want to talk about a couple conversations. One was Obi-Wan saying, "Hey, when I met your father, he was already a great pilot." Well, okay, now that we have the prequels, Anakin was 9 years old when they met. Right. Of course, he tried to make that work with the whole pod racing and all that. And then, of course, probably the one that's worse is when Luke and Leia are talking in the Ewok village, and somehow, Leia remembers her mother, and Luke says, "Well, I have no memories of my mother." Yeah. Of course, they were both babies at that time, and it's been since. People have tried to explain it, a connection through the Force or whatever. But when you really think about it, canonically, it doesn't make any sense as to, with what actually happened in episode 3. So I would just warn not to get too wrapped around. I appreciate, yes, before you guys take me for one thing I say and ignore everything else, right? I appreciate, people caring about canon and keeping the story straight, but I would just warn not to get too wrapped around the axle about canon, because there's stuff in the original trilogy and then with the prequel trilogy, it's just not, it's not going to always work. So don't get too bent out of shape about that. And then as far as the timeline goes, I'm with Fred on this one. When we were talking about Book of Boba Fett and we were doing the countdown of how many episodes we have left, like, where the hell is this series going? Yeah. I don't see any good exit strategy here on this show. I am a lot more optimistic about Obi-Wan. I think, Matt Vader's, probably right. There's probably still going to be some cliffhangers there, and there's probably going to be some, material for possible future use. But I'm definitely more optimistic about these last 2 episodes than I am with, anything we saw from Book of Boba Fett.
For sure. Question for you. I guess not a question, but more of a statement. Back to the canon thing, because I think it's really important what you said. I agree, and I'm also kind of big into sticking with what's canon and getting it all worked out in my head. Not saying you can't enjoy non-canon stories. I know I do, but I'm always going to make sure my canon is kind of, in order. But that's one thing about this Obi-Wan series that I'm liking. It's kind of helping the Star Wars canon flaws. Like you said, with the perfect example, the Ewok village. That's something that's bothered a lot of people, myself included, because it makes 0 sense. But Obi-Wan, what was it, episode 2 or 3, whichever one it was, when Leia and him are on that Imperial ship or whatever, and he starts to talk about his family. He was taken as a baby too. But he has like these small distinct memories. He says they're kind of like flashes. He's like, I think I had a brother. I remember my mother kind of, and that's it. And I feel like maybe that's the show trying to
help explain.
Yeah, help explain Return of the Jedi better. Maybe certain, babies that are one with the Force actually can have memories of their mother or memories of the first time they open their eyes. And even though it's just really quick flash images, maybe they have a couple of little images that gives them some idea about their past or who their parents were or something like that. And
then why would Leia have it and not Luke?
Because Luke didn't start to show till later. Because, like, again, in the Kenobi episode, he said, you don't care if Luke is safe, you care if he's showing.
Right.
So Luke might not have been showing. He didn't even know what the Force was until he was 19.
Right.
And he still somehow became like the greatest Jedi ever. So I think it's a weird loophole. It's a little weird, but they're trying to make it work, which I can appreciate, because otherwise there'd literally just be no explanation and be kind of just bring out the pitchforks and be like, this makes no sense. This is stupid. Fix it, change it, please.
I'll have to agree with you, Fred. I think that's great. A great way of explaining. And then, obviously now we see little Leia already demonstrating some sort of, Force use, whether she knows it or not. Some people call it intuition, a sixth sense of sorts, but she's definitely, tapped into that. Where, Luke is just putting on a helmet on Tatooine, climbing up on that igloo and pretending to fly a spaceship.
He's just making vroom vroom noises.
Yeah, exactly. So
Rogue Disney has a comment in there. Leia shouldn't be able to block Reva's mind reading. No one's going to like this argument, or at least, current company might not enjoy this argument. But remember, Rey did the same thing in episode 7 with no Jedi training, right? And she was strong. Obviously she's strong in the Force. Obviously, Leia is going to be very strong in the Force, whether she realizes it or not. So being able to block mind probes is, like you said, Ro, kind of an intuitive thing. Now, I think Reva should have picked up on that a little bit more. The fact that I thought that maybe that storyline was going to go somewhere where Reva picked up on the fact that she blocked her mind probe. So I was kind of surprised it didn't. But it seems to be an intuitive thing for anybody that's a Force user to be able to do that.
I think it goes above that.
She did say, "Wow, you're strong."
She mentioned it, but
Vader does the same thing.
I think it's more about like mental fortitude, though.
Yeah,
like Leia is a lot stronger than a lot of people give her credit for.
Right.
So I think it's and Rey too. Like Rey was, whether we love it or not, it doesn't matter. Rey at how old is she? 4? She was essentially a slave, a scavenger. Like over the years, you've seen some shit. You've went through some shit. It's going to build up your mental fortitude. That's just kind of how it works, not just in Star Wars, but in life. So I think it becomes a relatable thing where, this little girl knows that she has the responsibility of a planet on her shoulders in her near future. Her parents are, very mentally strong, as we've seen with Bail and Breha over and over. So I think it's not necessarily just about the Force power. I think it's about her having, the mental fortitude and capacity to know, stay strong, hold her ground. You can't get in my head. I'm stronger than I might look.
Yeah, I agree.
But speaking on Leia, I think one thing to look forward to is obviously they're going to reunite. So it'll be good to see, Bail again and that, when they reunite, I think that's going to be a good scene as well.
It's going to be special.
I hope they throw in a line about Breha and, thinking that Leia was gone and having
her heart conditions.
Her heart condition. Yeah, I think that would be a nice little touch there on her as a character. But absolutely, Jimmy Smits, her relationship with Leia, Bail and Leia was such a precious scene there. And like you said, I mean, the little actress is hitting it out of the ballpark.
And every single little reference that Obi-Wan makes to Padme, like that gets you, because you can tell he's actually still hurting over her death.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have much time to grieve, obviously, in Revenge of the Sith, but you can see how her death is still affecting him.
Yes, sirree. Yeah. I want to say thank you to our patrons, and then when we come back, any final thoughts before we do a little sentry mode? And because Fred is here, this is a one question sentry mode based on Ahsoka, that will ask our chat and see if we're, I got to reach over too and see what I'm going to give away. I got a couple of things, but let's say a little thank you to our patrons first. We'll be right back. All right, time for the big thank yous, podcast family, to those of you that support the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Team Scarif gives you all a heartfelt thank you. Wonderful people who have found it in their hearts to support our show. We're super lucky to have you.
Hello there.
Folks like Amanda, Jedi Caligula 89, Joey Rosales, what up, Joey? The Salty Crew at the Salty Nerd Podcast, Alex and Matt. Super fan of many of the Red 5 pods, Nicholas Schaefer. Follow him at Backyard TARDIS. What's up, Nick? Our Star Wars Celebration friend, Chad at Hyperspace and Holocrons. Jay from Florida. Our other Floridian, Frank, at the Garrison level. Big thanks. And certainly not least, our executor level patrons, 97 Bravo and the Convergence Podcast. And Scott and Kim from the Used and Abused Podcast. Big thanks, you Red Fivers. Go give them a follow. Huge respects to all our patrons for your support. And if you want to become more involved in the Scarif Scuttlebutt community and feel like becoming a patron, head over to patreon.com/Scarif Scuttlebutt. And remember, we can't have the scuttle without the butt. Don't forget, it's always sunny on Scarif with patrons like you. Absolutely. Big thanks. Oh, look, it's Ahsoka.
Which
Thanks for
one you
coming
want?
on
You
the
want this
show.
one or that one or that one?
Hey,
Yeah.
but can you put that one up? We need to hashtag that one. Gotta love the butt. I think we need to steal that one and use that.
Wait, who said that? Oh yeah, Sean. Sean is he's one of our marketing geniuses here at
Yeah,
the
we're
Red
gonna
Five
have to
Network.
we're gonna have to steal that one. I'm gonna claim it as my own. I made that up. Gotta love the butt.
I love the butt. All right, so there's a little game that we play called Sentry Mode, but we have one question on Sentry Mode this time, and because I knew that we were getting Fred here, Fred loves Ahsoka. Who doesn't though?
It's
Honestly,
true. I have a problem.
no, not at all.
No.
We have a one question Sentry Mode for the chat, and I'm going to give the chat a choice of prizes. Maybe I'll give them both away. Let's give them both away. Brad, I texted you the two questions. So the first question I'm going to give this first prize, and then the second question that you told me no, I'm going to use that one for the second prize.
Well, all right. I'm glad my
Sentry.
input matters.
I'm glad I asked you.
Our one question Sentry Mode.
This is Sentry Mode.
All right, guys. Okay, so the first question, and
Fred,
I'll
you got to
ask
type
you
it
guys-
in if you answer.
I'm not. No, I'm gonna let them do it. I'm gonna let them do it.
All right, so I'm going to give away. Let me put this up on the full screen here. Oh, that's not the full screen. Here we go. It's a Star Wars Mandalorian Lego. The Razor
Microfiber,
Crest.
Nice.
So, anybody in the chat? The question is, in the Ahsoka novel, who did she meet at the end and what code name did she take? First person gets this Razor Crest, say it 10 times, Star Wars mini figure. Matt Vader, I already sent you a Ray Funko Pop. What'd you do with it? In the Ahsoka novel, who did she meet at the end and what code name did she take?
Dang, Luna Girl.
Oh, Lunar Girl got it. That is correct. She met Bail, and
See,
took
Joker voice,
on-
you would have been right, but you answered in the wrong order. She did not meet Fulcrum and take on the codename Bail Organa. That would just be weird.
that would be weird, but yeah, Lunar Girl. Her collection's getting bigger, so it's on its way. But you know what? You guys have a second chance to win, and Lunar Girl, if you can abstain. I didn't type the second question in, so I'm gonna have to remind myself here.
All right, you want me to read this? You want me to read the long ass question? You got the short one. I'll take the long one.
Oh yeah, and I'm giving away Luke with little Grogu.
And I don't know why I turned my camera off
Nice.
either.
I don't know either, man. Luke with little Grogu.
Oh, that's a good one.
Let me take this out for a second, and I'm also going to take that out because that is done. All right, hold on a second before I forget. Lunar Girl gets the Lego. All right, second question on Sentry Mode, as read by Brad.
Yeah,
of the
sorry, this
Grand
one's wordy,
Inquisitor.
but you'll get it anyway. All right. In Star Wars Rebels, when Ahsoka was reaching out with the Force to find out who may have been attacking them in the advanced TIE fighter, what was the phrase that Vader says?
I know it.
One more time, Brad, for those in the back.
In Rebels, when Ahsoka was reaching out with the Force to find out who was attacking them in the advanced TIE fighter, what was the phrase that Vader says?
Oh, we got
We got
two
a bingo.
winners. We got a
Yep.
bingo. and Jedi of Chicago. Great. Shipping will be real cheap.
Just take the van. Just take the van.
I think because Joker Voice is in Las Vegas, his keyboard is delayed by 3 seconds. But yeah, absolutely. The Apprentice lives. Great job. Hold on a second. Let me write that down.
I got to rewatch. I guess I got to rewatch that. I did not. When I first read that, I did not remember what it was.
Oh yeah,
that was a good episode too.
And actually, the portrayal of Darth Vader in that show is really, really great. Love him when he was introduced. I'm like, woo, yeah. Joker Voice, you gotta be a little quicker on the trigger finger there, my friend. But absolutely, our winners tonight: Lunar Girl, the Lego, and Jedi of Chicago. Little Luke with little Grogu.
I'll tell you what,
cute.
I could give something away.
Oh, look at that!
I could give something away and do a third question. Let me pull it out.
Oh, nice.
Well, don't pull it out, Fred. We're not that kind of show.
I have a trunk full of goodies to my right.
All right.
I'm going to pull out. You didn't hear nothing. I'm going to pull out a random item. Let's not. Okay, we can do this one.
All right.
So, in the spirit of Ahsoka, it's not an
Very
Ahsoka
nice.
item. I'm sorry. But it is a Clone Wars Yoda first day of issue.
Very nice.
So in the box, I, for whatever reason, have 3 of these, and I don't need 3 of them.
Just send them my way, Fred. Don't worry about them.
So, my question for you. In the Ahsoka novel, how did Ahsoka get her lightsaber crystals that she used to make her signature white lightsabers? Who'd she get them from?
Walmart.
That is correct.
All right, good question. And if you guys haven't read that Ahsoka novel, it's actually pretty good.
Highly recommend.
I had Ashley Eckstein read it to me.
An Inquisitor is correct. Bonus points if you can name which Inquisitor it was.
Planet Bezos.
That's good.
Don't give them any ideas. They might actually use that. That sounds like it could be a Star Wars planet.
It could be. Death Star 4.0.
Very nice.
It's the ninth cousin.
That is correct. No, it's not.
From Alabama.
Fifth uncle. It's the fifth uncle.
All right.
Fifth uncle's funny.
Did we get a? We got the correct answer.
We have
Joker Voice.
It is an Inquisitor. It is an Inquisitor.
Okay. No bonus points?
I'm not seeing any bonus points. If someone can name me the bonus points, I'll give away a second item.
What?
I'll do a second item.
Holy!
You gotta have Fred on more.
Enfys Nest.
Oh,
Solo.
Look at that!
I just want y'all to know, I left the price tag on here. It was only $8 because I got it at Ollie's because one opened up right down the street from me. But this could be yours today.
Look at that. And the question is the bonus?
The bonus is, which Inquisitor did Ahsoka get her lightsabers crystals from?
Is
The
Nicole,
Inquisitor is right. But
is
what
Nicole
number?
right there? Sixth brother?
That is correct.
Oh, Joker Voice got
Very
that too.
nice. Wow.
Joker
Very
Voice
nice.
got there for 6th brother, so he gets both prizes.
Very nice. Look at that, Joker. See? It pays to be nice. Very
But
nice.
since it's Disney Star Wars, we'll just forward it to somebody else.
All right. That was Sentry Mode. We gave away some really nice stuff, didn't we? Woohoo!
This is Sentry Mode.
I don't know why I played that again, but
I mean, you just like the animation.
very nice. Cool. Fred, thank you so much for not only coming on, talking Kenobi, but giving away stuff.
Of course, it's
Very
my
nice.
pleasure to be here.
Very nice. Yeah, any final thoughts on Kenobi? Looking forward to the last 2 episodes, obviously. But any final thoughts from Fred or Brad?
Brad, you go ahead and go first.
It's a minor thought, but you know what? It's great to have Wednesday drops on these shows. I prefer Wednesday drops to Friday because Friday you're already looking forward to Friday because it's damn near the weekend. It's nice to have Wednesday shows to give you something to look forward to in the middle of the week. So thanks Disney for that, and just really excited about the last 2 episodes. I think they're going to pull it off, as Fred said. As with the Disney era, cautiously optimistic, but I think they are going to. It's going to be satisfying, the last 2 episodes. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
So for me, yeah, kind of the same thing. Definitely looking forward to the ending. One thing I will say is to keep your eyes open in the next episode.
Keep them open, everyone.
But I thought it was
Keep
only
your
when
eyes
your
open.
eyes were shut. Isn't that what they said on the thing?
Oh yeah,
That's
you
what
can.
they say.
Yeah, and it's the way.
That is the way.
Yeah, it's the way.
Wait, is it the way though, or is it the path? Now I'm confused.
No, it's different.
It's the way of the path.
Duh.
I don't know what's happening anymore. But
oh wow.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they kind of put everything together here, and I would not be surprised if we get more stories revolving, Kenobi or these characters or Vader. I guess before we go, I do have a theory. I have a theory for a potential season 2. I don't think it's happening, but I'm going to give them a theory, or not even theory, my pitch.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
Okay, we know they're going to meet again, whatever. Both of them are going to survive. Yay. How could there be a season 2 with that, right?
Right.
I think it could be 6 episodes again. 3 focus on Obi-Wan, 3 focus on Vader. Because now, even though Obi-Wan is probably going to find his way, be able to call himself a Jedi again, Vader is probably going to throw out as much of Anakin as possible after their final meeting. But they're both going to have a little bit of trauma left over still. And it could literally be 6 episodes of, more of a spiritual tone. And that's where we could get some serious flashbacks because that's what we all want.
Sure.
That's my pick.
Speaking of spiritual, where the hell's Qui-Gon?
Oh
When's he,
yeah.
when's he coming in? And also, if we're putting up wish list, I just want to see Vader hunting down Jedi.
Yeah.
I just want to see a cruel ass Vader hunting down Jedi across the galaxy. No
When
mercy.
it comes to Qui-Gon, keep your eyes open.
Well, yeah, but he should. I mean, you knew that was going to be part of this, but he should have been talking to him years ago. He gave him that mission. He gave him that mission in Revenge of the Sith.
But he's broken.
Right.
He is broken.
Obi-Wan is so broken.
That
He doesn't
can't-
believe in anything. Remember what's his name? The Jedi that ended up getting hanged on Tatooine. He said, the fight's over. We lost. Move along.
that's fair. That's fair.
So he's too broken to even try. He keeps saying like master, but he's not in tune with the Force. That's why he could barely move that little comm or whatever it was on the ship.
Yeah.
But Qui-Gon, yeah.
Qui-Gon only does film. He doesn't do TV.
Never.
I mean, he had that part in, the very small part in Revenge of the Sith I'm sorry, episode 2, where he's yelling Anakin when he's killing all the sand people.
Oh yeah.
So
That wasn't even a newly recorded line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Yeah, maybe he'll do some intervention. We'll see.
Excellent. I want to thank everybody in the chat. We had some great folks in there having their own show, I think, sometimes too, which is really great to see. I love the discussion that takes place in our chat here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. A nice group, nice mix of people. Brad, let's tell those people that are still in the chat where to find you.
Wow. I stay hidden. If you actually want to converse with me, you can find me on Twitter at Jedi4, the number 4, Liberty. Jedi4 Liberty. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram. So just look me up.
And Fred the Jedi, Master Jedi, where can folks find you?
You can find me at Fred the Jedi on Twitter and YouTube are my two main things. Here, did I point the right way?
Nope.
It's over there.
Where?
There you go.
There
On
you
my
go.
screen, it's
There
over
it
here.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can find me at Fred the Jedi. Twitter and YouTube are my two biggest platforms. But I am also on Instagram at Fred the Jedi with 2 eyes. Everywhere else, Fred the Jedi, no spaces, one word.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much again for joining us on this examination of Kenobi Part 4, our little discussion. We love to keep the conversation going. If you want to keep the conversation going with us, send us an email at scarifscuttlebutt at gmail.com, or we love to hear voices, not only the voices that we already hear in our head, but we love to hear the voices when you guys leave us a voicemail at the Scarif Scuttlebutt hotline. It's 773-234-8659. Tell us about how you're enjoying Kenobi, how you're enjoying any of the other nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. I did hear that today is Superman Day. And what else was percolating on the internet? Raiders of the Lost Ark was released today. X amount of years. Love that movie. Another Lucasfilm property. Looking forward to Indy 5 myself. Thank you, Mr. Mangold, for heading back into the archives there. So looking forward to that. Yeah, that's about it. Guys, thank you so much, everybody in the chat who stuck with us. And again, Fred, thank you very much for not only coming on our show and parting with some of your treasured articles from your archive. Yeah, you never, like they say in Illinois, you can't win if you don't play, right? You can't win if you don't watch the Scarif Scuttlebutt. Brad, take us out, sir.
And that's the scuttlebutt.